Hey everyone! Tonight we're peeling back the layers of the beauty secrets of the Middle Ages, where looking good could literally cost you your life. Picture yourself in a drafty stone castle, a cracked mirror reflecting your face under flickering candlelight. As you reach for a pot of something that smells like regret and metal. These creepy medieval beauty secrets aren't for the faint of heart. You might not survive this glow-up. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you really like what I do here. Drop a comment with your location and local time. I'm curious where you're chilling tonight. Now, turn down the lights. Maybe turn on the fan for some soothing noise. And let's get started on tonight's journey together. You wake up in a medieval village, the air thick with wood smoke and the faint whiff of livestock. Your reflection in a bucket of murky water shows a face that's, let's say, not Instagram ready, not in the Middle Ages. Beauty isn't just a flex, it's a status symbol, a way to scream, "I'm not toiling in the fields," without saying a word. You're determined to master the disturbing ancient beauty rituals that noble women swear by, even if they sound like a one-way ticket to the apothecary's grave. Your first stop, a clay pot filled with a chalky paste that promises a flawless complexion. It's white lead, the MVP of unbelievable medieval skincare, and it's about as safe as licking a rusty sword. You dip your fingers into the cold, gritty mixture, its texture like wet plaster, smearing it across your cheeks. You feel a faint sting. But the mirror okay? A polished brass plate shows a ghostly glow. This is it, you think. The pale face every knight dreams of. But there's a catch. This stuff is pure poison. Lead seeps into your pores, promising a smooth canvas while quietly wrecking your insides. By the time you're 25, you might be coughing up your lunch or seeing double. But right now, you're serving looks. Why do you do it? Because in 1215, the year King John seals the Magna Carta, a landmark event shaping medieval power dynamics. A pale face says you're elite, untouched by the sun's kiss. Peasants get freckles. You get to look like royalty, or at least a very stylish ghost. The lead paste isn't the only trick in your kit. You grab a vial of rosewater, distilled by some poor soul who probably lost a finger to thorns. It's meant to refresh your skin, but it's more like splashing your face with medieval Gatorade fancy, but useless against the dark side of historical beauty. You dab it on, catching a whiff of something floral yet faintly stale, like a bouquet left in a crypt. Your neighbor, a merchant's wife named Marjorie, swears by this routine. Keeps the devil's blemishes at bay, she says, her own face looking suspiciously splotchy. You nod. But you're starting to wonder if these shocking beauty treatments from history are less about glamour and more about survival of the stubborn. Here's an odd fact to chew on. Some medieval women used urine, yes, that urine, as a face wash, believing it purified the skin. You're not that desperate yet, but Marjorie's raised eyebrow suggests she might be. "It's natural," she whispers, and you fake a smile, praying she doesn't offer you a sample. The thought makes you chuckle. Imagine posting that to your medieval TikTok day. 47 of my glow up, and I'm basically a human outhouse. Joke number 1. And you're already questioning your life choices. As you apply another layer of lead paste, your skin prickles, and you wonder if you're imagining the faint buzz in your head. Historians still debate whether medieval women knew these concoctions were deadly, or if they just shrugged off the side effects like we do with too much caffeine. Some argue apothecaries hid the risks, peddling poison as prestige. Others say women weighed the cost and chose beauty over longevity. Either way, you're hooked on the routine, chasing that ethereal glow while dodging the Grim Reaper's DMs. Your day continues with the wooden comb that snags your hair like it's personal. You're aiming for that silky noblewoman vibe, but your scalp's screaming for mercy. The comb's teeth are uneven, carved by some guy who clearly moonlighted as a butcher. You mutter, "This is why we can't have nice things." Joke number 2 and keep going. Hair's a big deal here. It's gotta be long, lustrous, and preferably blonde, because apparently brunettes don't get invited to the cool crusades. You've heard whispers of barley water rinses for shine, but the recipe sounds like something you'd feed a horse, so you stick to brute force. By noon, you're sweating under your wool gown, the lead paste cracking like a bad DIY mask. You pass a market stall where a hawker shouts about miracle balms made from sheep fat and mystery herbs. The crowd's eating it up, tossing coins like it's Black Friday at a medieval Sephora. You're tempted, but your coin pouch is lighter than your morals, so you keep walking. The hawker's voice fades, replaced by church bells tolling for midday prayers. You pause, catching your reflection in a puddle. The lead's doing its job. You look like a porcelain doll. If dolls had trust issues and a death wish, the creepy medieval beauty secrets don't stop at your face. You've got a mental checklist to pluck your hairline. Dodge freckles! Maybe try that snail slime lip balm Marjorie won't shut up about. It's exhausting. Like running a marathon in a corset. You joke to yourself, "At least if I keel over, I'll be the prettiest corpse in the village that's 3 and head home to reapply your toxic glow." The sun's dipping low, casting shadows that make your pale face look even eerier. You're starting to get why these rituals feel like a pact with something darker. The beauty secrets of the Middle Ages aren't just about looking good. They're about power, risk, and a gamble you're not sure you'll win. You're standing in your dim-lit chamber, the air heavy with the scent of damp stone and that questionable rose water you splashed on earlier. Your face, still caked with that lead paste from yesterday. Remember that toxic glow is starting to itch. But you're not here to scrub it off. No, you're doubling down on the beauty secrets of the Middle Ages, chasing that ghostly pale complexion that screams, "I'm too fancy to toil under the sun." The creepy medieval beauty secrets you're messing with today, they're all about white lead, the era's go-to for that porcelain look, even if it's basically a slow-motion poison. You're about to dive deeper into the dark side of historical beauty, where looking good means flirting with death. You grab the same clay pot, its contents now a bit crusty around the edges, like a forgotten yogurt in the back of your fridge. The paste inside is ceruse, a mix of white lead and vinegar that's as smooth as it is sinister. You smear it on with a wooden spatula, the cold sludge sticking to your cheeks like wet cement. It tingles, not in a fun spa day way, but in a maybe I should have read the warning label way. The mirror, a polished bronze disc that's more vibe than clarity, shows your face transforming. You're pale, almost luminous, like you just stepped out of a medieval influencer's tutorial on unbelievable medieval skincare. But the buzz in your temples, that's the lead whispering. You sure about this? This obsession with paleness isn't just vanity, it's a cultural flex. In 1348, as the Black Death sweeps through Europe, killing millions and reshaping society, a pale face signals you're not out there sweating in the fields with the peasants. It's the medieval equivalent of a private jet, only the elite can afford it. You're not nobility, but you're faking it till you make it, or until your kidneys give out. The lead paste covers blemishes. Sure, but it also covers your commoner status, painting you as someone who lounges in castles, not someone mucking stables. You catch a whiff of the vinegar in the paste, sharp enough to make your eyes water, and wonder if this is what ambition smells like. Here's an odd fact to make your skin crawl. Some women mixed their cirrus with mercury, thinking it added extra radiance. Mercury. You know, the stuff that makes your hands shake and your brain fog up like a foggy marsh. You're not that wild, but you side-eye the pot, wondering if Marjorie slipped some in when you weren't looking. Radiant or radioactive, you mutter to yourself. Chuckling joke number 1. The thought of glowing like a toxic lantern is almost funny, until you remember the apothecary's warning about occasional dizziness. Yeah, occasional like the sun rising. You smooth the paste over your forehead. Careful not to smudge your eyebrows. Those are next on your list, but for now, you're focused on this disturbing ancient beauty ritual. The paste dries, cracking slightly at the corners of your mouth, like a mask you can't take off. You're starting to feel a faint nausea, a headache creeping in like an uninvited guest. Historians still debate whether women knew the full extent of Lead's dangers or if they just ignored the rumors. Some say apothecaries downplayed the risks, calling side effects humoral imbalances to keep selling their wares. Others argue women chose beauty over health, knowing the cost but prioritizing status. You're not sure where you stand, but the mirror says you're winning, even if your stomach disagrees. Your friend Marjorie pops by, her own face a patchy white canvas. "You look like a saint statue," she says, grinning. You roll your eyes. "Thanks, Marge, but I'm aiming for alive by next week." That's joke number 2, and it lands with a smirk. She hands you a linen cloth to set the paste, but it's rough as tree bark and smells like it's been used to mop the tavern floor. You dab anyway, the lead sinking deeper into your pores. Marjorie swears by this routine, says it's what landed her husband, but you're pretty sure his eyesight's just bad. The church bells ring outside, signaling evening prayers, and you realize you've spent hours on this face paint. Time flies when you're poisoning yourself for clout. The shocking beauty treatments from history don't end with lead. You've heard of women using arsenic wafers to keep their skin pale? Yep. Eating poison like it's a medieval protein bar. You're not there yet, but the temptation's real when you see Lady Agnes, the local noblewoman, gliding through the market with a complexion so flawless it's practically a halo. You try to mimic her, layering on more ceruse up, but your hands tremble slightly. Is it nerves? Or is the lead already clocking in for work? You shake it off, splashing cold water from a basin to refresh your face, though it just smears the paste into a streaky mess. Great! Now you look like a melting candle. You step outside, the evening air cool against your coated skin. Villagers glance your way, some with envy, others with pity. A kid points and whispers to his mom, probably thinking you're a ghost. You flash a grin joke number 3. At least I'll haunt in style. The lead's doing its job, making you look ethereal. But every step feels heavier, like your body's sending you a bill for this beauty. You pass a healer's stall, where an old woman sells safe alternatives, herbs, oils. Something about snail slime again. You're tempted, but the beauty secrets of the Middle Ages have you hooked. You're not just chasing a look, you're chasing power, prestige, and a chance to stand out in a world that's all mud and monotony. Tomorrow, you'll tackle your hairline. But for now, you're pale, proud, and just a little queasy. You're back in your drafty chamber, the candlelight flickering like it's auditioning for a horror flick. Your face is still rocking that lead paste glow. Remember how it made you look like a noblewoman? Or maybe a fancy corpse now. You're staring at your reflection in that same wonky bronze mirror, your fingers hovering over your forehead. It's time to tackle the next level of the beauty secrets of the Middle Ages. The sky-high hairline that screams, "I'm basically royalty." These creepy medieval beauty secrets are about to get hands-on as you pluck your way into the dark side of historical beauty, one stinging hair at a time. You grab a pair of iron tweezers, their tips blunt and slightly rusty, like they were forged for torture rather than glamour. The goal: shave back your hairline to mimic the domed foreheads of noblewomen. A trend that's all the rage. A high forehead says you're refined, intellectual, and probably don't spend your days hauling turnips. You pinch the first hair, wincing as it yanks free with a tiny, sharp pain. It's like pulling weeds from a garden. Except the garden's your face and every tug feels personal. The tweezers slip, grazing your skin, and you mutter. This is why mirrors should come with hazard pay. That's joke number 1. And you're already regretting this. Plucking isn't just a beauty hack. It's a cultural obsession rooted in the era's ideals. In 1170, the murder of Thomas Becket in Canterbury Cathedral shocks Europe, cementing the church's influence over medieval life, including beauty standards. Noblewomen, inspired by religious art depicting saints with lofty foreheads. Decide bigger is better. You're not a saint, but you're not about to let Marjorie outshine you at the next village feast. You keep plucking, your forehead turning red and puffy, like a map of your bad decisions. The candle sputters, casting shadows that make your half-plucked hairline look like a jagged coastline. You lean closer to the mirror, squinting, and catch a whiff of the lead paste still clinging to your cheeks. Sour, metallic, and way too familiar. Here's an odd fact to make you cringe. Some women didn't just pluck, they shaved their foreheads with crude razors or smeared on depilatory paste made from quicklime. Quicklime. That's basically medieval napalm, burning hair off and sometimes taking skin with it. You're sticking to tweezers, thank you very much. But you can't help picturing Marjorie slathering that stuff on like it's no big deal. Smooth as a baby's soul, she'd probably say. You chuckle joke number 2. Yeah, Marge. But I'd like to keep my face attached. The thought of chemical burns makes your eyes water. Or maybe that's just another hair ripping free. Your fingers ache, but you're committed to this disturbing ancient beauty ritual. Each pluck stings less now, either because you're getting numb or because your forehead's staging a full rebellion. You pause to dab on some rose water still stale, still useless to soothe the raw skin. It's like splashing perfume on a bruise, but you're trying to stay optimistic. Historians still debate whether this high forehead trend was purely aesthetic or tied to deeper symbolism, like mimicking the Virgin Mary's serene brow in religious icons. Some say it was about looking pious. Others argue it was just rich people flexing their free time. Either way, you're in too deep to quit, even if your forehead looks like it's plotting revenge. You glance out the window, where the moon hangs low over the village. A dog barks, and you hear the clatter of a cart rolling by, probably the miller. Late as usual. Back to work. You pluck faster now, the tweezers clinking softly, each hair a tiny trophy in your quest for the perfect dome. Your scalp tingles, and you wonder if you're overdoing it. Too late now, you're halfway to looking like a medieval egg. You try to distract yourself by humming a tune, but it's hard to focus when every pluck feels like a personal attack. The shocking beauty treatments from history are no joke. Plucking's not lethal like lead, but it's a marathon of misery. Marjorie swings by, her own forehead suspiciously smooth. Going for the courtly look, she asks, smirking. You roll your eyes. Sure. If courtly means I hate myself, that's joke number 3. And she laughs, tossing you a scrap of cloth to wipe the sweat beading under your lead mask. She's got her own tweezers dangling from her belt, like a knight with a sword. You both know this ritual's a status game. High hairlines are for ladies who lunch, not ladies who churn butter. You're not there yet, but you're faking it with every painful tug. By the time you're done, your forehead's a red, swollen masterpiece, high enough to make Lady Agnes jealous. You tilt your head, catching the candlelight, and wow, it actually works. You look like you belong in a tapestry. Maybe one where everyone's got a lute and zero stress. But your fingers are cramped, and your skin's throbbing like it's got a grudge. You set the tweezers down, their iron clinking against the table, and splash more rose water, hoping it'll calm the chaos. It doesn't, but at least you smell vaguely floral. You step outside for air, the night cool against your angry forehead. Villagers shuffle past, their faces tanned and unplucked, staring at your new look like you're from another planet. You flash a tired smile, owning it. The unbelievable medieval skincare game is brutal, but you're playing to win. Tomorrow, you'll tackle your eyes something about belladonna drops, but for now, you're rocking the forehead of a wannabe noble, praying the redness fades before the next market day. You're back in your chilly chamber, the air thick with the musty scent of straw and that lingering metallic tang from your lead paste face still glowing. Still questionable. Your forehead's finally calming down from that plucking marathon, but now you're staring at your eyes in the warped bronze mirror. They're fine, sure, but fine doesn't cut it in the beauty secrets of the Middle Ages. You're chasing that doe-eyed, heart-melting gaze that makes knights trip over their swords. Enter Belladonna, the star of creepy medieval beauty secrets. A little vial of plant juice that's about to take your eyes from May to mesmerizing or blind. Welcome to the dark side of historical beauty, where the line between gorgeous and gone is razor thin. You hold the tiny glass vial, its contents dark and syrupy, like something a shady alchemist slipped you at the market. Belladonna, or beautiful lady, is your ticket to dilated pupils, the medieval equivalent of a Snapchat filter. You tilt your head back, squeezing a drop into each eye. It stings like a wasp with a grudge, and your vision blurs instantly, like you're staring through a rain-soaked window. You blink hard, tears pooling. But when you check the mirror, wow, your pupils are huge, black as midnight, giving you that wide-eyed, ethereal look that screams, "I'm mysterious and probably own a castle." But your head's spinning, and the room feels wobbly. This is the shocking beauty treatments from History at Work. And you're not sure if you're winning or just woozy. This eye game isn't just for fun, it's a power move. In 1268, when the Eighth Crusade kicks off under Louis IX, beauty trends among the elite are all about standing out in a world of war and chaos. Big, dreamy eyes signal you're delicate, refined, not some peasant squinting into the sun. You dab away the excess belladonna with a scrap of linen, its rough weave scratching your cheek. The drops are working, but every shadow in the room looks like it's dancing, and you're pretty sure that candle just winked at you. Great, you mutter. Now I'm flirting with firelight. That's joke number 1, and it helps distract from the fact that you can't quite focus on your own hands. Here's an odd fact to make you blink twice. Some women didn't stop at belladonna, they rubbed antimony, a toxic metal, around their eyes for that smoky, coal-like effect. Antimony. It's like using battery acid as eyeliner, but sure, let's all sparkle. You're sticking to the drops, but you can't help wondering if Marjorie's tried the antimony trick. Her eyes do have that extra something, though it might just be regret. You chuckle joke number 2. Marjorie's out here looking like a raccoon with a death wish. The thought keeps you sane as your pupils stretch wider, making every flicker of light feel like a personal attack. Your vision's hazy now, like you're walking through a fog that smells faintly of herbs and bad choices. You stumble to the window, hoping fresh air will clear your head. The village outside is a blur. Huts, carts, and a guy herding goats all melt into a dreamy smear. This is the disturbing ancient beauty ritual you signed up for, but nobody warned you it'd feel like you're auditioning for a ghost story. Historians still debate whether women used belladonna knowing it could blind them, or if they just shrugged off the risk for the sake of allure. Some say apothecaries pushed it as a safe beauty hack. Others argue the users knew but prioritized seduction over sight. You're leaning toward the latter, because right now, you're half blind but fully committed. You sit back down, gripping the table to steady yourself. The belladonna is still working its magic, and you catch your reflection again. Those eyes, stunning. You look like you could charm a dragon, or at least the miller's son. But reading the label on your rosewater vial, impossible. You squint, give up, and splash some on anyway, hoping it'll calm the burning. It doesn't. But the floral scent cuts through the belladonna's bitter edge, like a polite apology from a poison. You hear Marjorie's voice outside, haggling with a merchant over eye-brightening herbs. You roll your eyes, or try to, since they're not exactly cooperating. If Marjorie's buying more of this stuff, I'm staging an intervention. You whisper. That's joke number 3. And it lands with a smirk, even if you're mostly talking to the blurry candle. The church bells toll, signaling dusk, and you realize you've got to navigate the village looking like a sleep-deprived owl. You step outside, your oversized pupils catching every glint of moonlight, making you feel like a walking lantern. Villagers stare, some whispering, others nodding approvingly. Lady Agnes glides by, her own eyes suspiciously wide. And you wonder if she's in on the unbelievable medieval skincare game, too. You flash a smile, hoping it looks confident and not like you're lost in a haze. The belladonna's high is fading, but the headache's moving in. A dull throb reminding you that beauty's got a price tag. You're playing the game, though, because in this world, those beauty secrets of the Middle Ages aren't just about looking good, they're about looking untouchable, even if it costs you your sight. You're slumped in your creaky wooden chair, the candlelight casting jittery shadows across your chamber. Your face is still pale from that lead paste. Remember how it made you feel like a walking ghost? And your eyes are wide from those belladonna drops, though the blur's finally fading. But now there's a new problem you smell. Not like a rose garden, either. The air around you carries a mix of sweat, straw, and something you'd rather not name. In the Middle Ages, staying fresh isn't exactly a priority, and you're about to dive into the murky world of hygiene, where baths are rare and perfumes are, let's say, an adventure. This is how you keep from clearing a room with your scent. Or at least try to. You eye a wooden tub in the corner, its planks warped and mossy, like it's been holding grudges since the last crusade. Bathing's a big deal, or rather, not bathing is. Most folks think too much water invites sickness. Stripping your body's natural oils or letting demons sneak in through your pores. You're skeptical, but the village is buzzing with tales of people catching chills from a dunk in the river. So you compromise a quick sponge bath with a rag and a basin of water that's colder than a tax collector's heart. The rag's rough, scraping your skin like it's punishing you for even trying. You mutter, "This is less self-care and more self-dare." That's joke number one, and it keeps you from tossing the rag out the window. The water's cloudy before you even start, probably from the well's latest tantrum. You dip the rag, wringing it out with a squelch, and scrub your arms. The chill makes you shiver, and you catch a whiff of your own odor, earthy. Sharp, like you've been wrestling hay bales. Bathing's rare because it's a hassle hauling water, heating it, and convincing everyone you're not tempting fate. In 1291, when the fall of Acre marks the end of the Crusades, resources are tight, and hot baths are a luxury for the rich who can afford firewood and servants. You're not that rich, so you make do, splashing just enough to feel vaguely human. The lead paste on your face stays put. You're not risking your glow for hygiene. Here's an odd fact to wrinkle your nose. Some folks believed strong body odor was a sign of good health. Proof your humors were venting properly. Yup. Smelling like a stable was a flex. You're not buying it, but Marjorie swears her husband loves her natural scent. You picture her strutting through the market, odor first, and chuckle joke number two. Marjorie's out here marketing her BO as medieval cologne. The thought makes you scrub harder, hoping to avoid that level of confidence. Since baths are off the table, you reach for perfume to mask the funk. Your perfume is a small vial of oil infused with herbs, rosemary, lavender, and something that smells like regret. You dab it on your neck. The oil slick and heavy, cutting through the sweat but adding a musky undertone. It's better than nothing, but you're pretty sure you now smell like a herb garden with the side of armpit. Perfumes are big business, Though traders haul exotic scents from far-off lands, and noble women drench themselves to signal wealth, you're just trying not to make the chickens run away. Historians still debate whether the aversion to bathing was purely practical or tied to religious fears, like avoiding vanity or washing away God's protection. Some say it was logistics. Others argue the church pushed the no-bath vibe. You're just glad you're not dunking in a communal bathhouse, sharing water with half the village. You stand, stretching, and catch your reflection in the bronze mirror. Your face is still pale, your forehead high, your eyes wide, beauty's on point. But the scent, work in progress. You splash more perfume, the vial's contents sloshing like a tiny ocean. Outside, the village is settling for the night, the air carrying wood smoke and the faint bleat of goats. You step out, hoping the breeze will help. A passing villager wrinkles his nose, and you flash a grin, joking. What? You don't like my new signature scent? That's 3. And he scurries off, probably thinking you're cursed. You pass Marjorie's house, where she's arguing with a peddler over a miracle soap made from ash and fat. You're tempted, but soap's harsh, sometimes worse than the dirt it's meant to clean. You stick to your rag and oil, weaving through the market where stalls sell everything from dried herbs to questionable salves. A woman hawks bathing herbs, claiming they'll make you smell like a saint. You're pretty sure saints didn't smell like rosemary and despair, but you nod politely. The church bells ring, signaling Compline, and you head home, your skin still tacky from the oil. Back in your chamber, you collapse onto your straw mattress, the perfume clinging to you like a clingy friend. You're cleanerish, but the effort feels like a battle you barely won. The tub mocks you from the corner, and you vow to tackle it another day. Maybe when you're rich enough to hire someone to heat the water. For now, you're surviving on sponge baths and hope, dodging the stench that defines most of the village. Tomorrow, you'll face your teeth another adventure, but tonight, you're just glad you don't smell like Marjorie's healthy humors. You're sprawled on your lumpy straw mattress, the chamber dim under a waning candle's glow. Your face still holds that lead paste sheen. Remember how it made you look like a noble ghost, and your scents passable thanks to yesterday's herb oil dab fest. But now, you flash a grin at your bronze mirror and wince. Your teeth. Not exactly a night's dream, they're uneven, stained, and one's got a suspicious dark spot. In the Middle Ages, a perfect smile isn't the goal. Sometimes a blackened grin is the flex. You're about to dive into the wild world of dental care, where pastes are bizarre and the results are, let's say, an acquired taste. You grab a small clay pot filled with a gritty mixture your neighbor Marjorie swore by. It's a toothpaste of sorts, ground chalk, burnt herbs, and something that smells like it was scraped off a stable floor. You dip a frayed twig into it, your makeshift toothbrush, and start scrubbing. The paste tastes like dirt with a side of ash, and the twig splinters against your gums, making you grimace. This is less dental care and more dental warfare. You mutter, "That's joke number 1, and it keeps you from spitting the whole mess out." Your teeth feel gritty, like you're polishing stones, but you keep at it, hoping for a smile that won't scare the village kids. Dental care here isn't about pearly whites, it's about status and survival. In 1307, when the Knights Templar are arrested across Europe, sparking rumors of heresy and shaking medieval power structures, a good smile or a strategically bad one can say a lot. Blackened teeth are oddly fashionable among some elites, thanks to sugar from trade routes hitting the rich first. Sugar rots teeth. Sure, but a dark grin screams, I can afford sweets. You're not that fancy, so you're aiming for cleanish, scrubbing hard while the paste foams like a bad alchemy experiment. The mirror shows marginal progress, but your gums are throbbing, and you smell like a bonfire gone wrong. Here's an odd fact to chew on: some folks used mouse bones. Yep, actual rodent skeletons ground into powder as a tooth whitener. Mouse bones. You're not desperate enough to try it, but you can picture Marjorie sneaking some into her paste, claiming it's Noble approved. You chuckle joke number 2. Marjorie's smile brought to you by the local rat graveyard. The thought makes you scrub gentler, lest you grind your enamel into dust. Your twig snaps, and you grab another. Its bark rough against your lips. This is medieval dentistry, and it's about as fun as a tax audit. You rinse with water from a basin, the liquid cold and tasting faintly of iron. It doesn't help much, but it clears the chalky aftertaste. Your teeth feel smoother, maybe, but the dark spot's still there, mocking you. Blackened teeth might be chic in some circles, but you're not sold. You've heard of women painting their teeth with soot for that trendy rot look, and you're tempted just to see Marjorie's face, but you'd rather not commit to the vibe. Historians still debate whether blackened teeth were a deliberate fashion statement or just a side effect of sugar and poor hygiene. Some say it was pure flex. Others argue it was damage control, turning decay into status. You're leaning toward the latter because no one's that wild. Right? Your gums sting as you poke at them with a finger, checking for blood. The paste's harsh, but it's better than the alternatives like letting your teeth fall out by 30. You glance at the window, where dawn's creeping in, painting the village in soft grays. A rooster crows, off-key as usual, and you hear the clatter of early risers outside. You're not ready to face them yet, not with your mouth feeling like a construction site. You dab some rose water on your lips, still stale, still floral to mask the paste's lingering funk. It's a small win, but in this world, small wins are all you've got. Marjorie swings by, her own grin flashing a mix of yellow and black, like a checkerboard with attitude. Teeth shining, yet she asks, leaning too close. You step back, shining like a dungeon floor. Marge, that's joke number 3. And she cackles, offering you a chunk of her own paste. You decline, citing taste bud loyalty. But really, you're not sure what's in her mix. She shrugs and leaves, humming a tune that's probably banned in churches. You're alone again, staring at your reflection. Your smile's better barely, but it's yours, and that's enough for now. You step outside, the morning air crisp against your face. Villagers bustle through the market, their breath fogging in the chill. A baker waves, his own teeth a grim reminder of why you're scrubbing yours. You flash a cautious smile, hoping it passes muster. The church bells ring, calling for morning prayers, and you weave through the crowd, your lead-paste face and high forehead still turning heads. Your teeth. They're a work in progress, but you're surviving the dental gauntlet. Tomorrow, you'll face bloodletting another wild ride, but for now, you're just glad your smile doesn't scream, I chew gravel for fun. You're hunched in your dim chamber, the air thick with the scent of candle wax and that herb oil you've been using to keep the village funk at bay. Your face still rocks that lead paste glow. Remember how it made you feel like a moonlit noble, and your teeth are marginally less alarming thanks to that gritty paste. But today you feel sluggish, like you've been hauling sacks of barley in your sleep. Your cheeks are sallow, not the rosy flush you're chasing, and Marjorie's been side-eyeing you about your dull humors. Time to try the Middle Ages ultimate wellness trend, bloodletting. This is your shot at a healthy glow, but it's about to get messy as you dive into the wild world where leading as a beauty hack. You're at the barber surgeon stall, a rickety setup in the village square that smells like iron and questionable life choices. The barber, a wiry guy named Godric, motions you to a stool. He's got a lancet, a blade so thin it looks like it could slice through your confidence. Bloodletting's supposed to balance your humors. Blood, phlegm, yellow bile, black bile, and give you that fresh-faced vibe. You roll up your sleeve, your arm prickling in the cool morning air, and Godric ties a cloth tourniquet tight enough to make you wince. "This'll perk you right up," he says. But his grin says, "Hope you're not too attached to this blood." You mutter, "Great. I'm paying to be a human wine cask." That's joke number 1, and it keeps you from bolting. The lancet bites. A quick, sharp jab, and blood trickles into a clay bowl, dark and sluggish. You watch, your stomach doing a slow flip. As the bowl fills, it's warm, sticky, smells like a smithy's forge. Godric hums a tune, probably to drown out your stifled groan. This is 1218, the year the Fifth Crusade flounders at Damietta, when Crusaders face disease and defeat ironic. Since you're letting blood to avoid sickness, the idea is that too much of it makes you look puffy or pale in the bad way, and leading it out restores your natural glow. You're not sure you're buying it, but the village swears by it. Lady Agnes gets bled monthly, and she's practically radiant, though you're starting to suspect she's just naturally smug. Here's an odd fact to make you queasy. Some folks had bloodletting done based on star signs, believing the moon's position ruled their humors. Yep, your beauty routine is now a cosmic PowerPoint presentation. You're not that into astrology, but you can picture Marjorie consulting a star chart before her next bleed. You chuckle joke number 2. Marjorie's out here getting drained under a full moon like a medieval vampire. The thought distracts you as Godric swaps the full bowl for a fresh one, the blood sloshing like a grim soup. Your arm throbs, and you're lightheaded, like you've spun in circles too long. The barber dabs the cut with a rag that's seen better days, and you hope it's cleaner than it looks. Bloodletting's not just for looks, it's medicine, beauty, and religion rolled into one. Priests say it purifies the soul. Physicians say it clears the body. Historians still debate whether people believed bloodletting was a cure-all, or if they just trusted tradition over results. Some argue it was placebo at best. Others say patients felt better briefly, enough to keep the lancets busy. You're leaning toward placebo because right now, you feel like you've donated half your soul to Godric's bowl. You stumble to your feet, the world tilting slightly. Godric hands you a scrap of linen to press against the cut. Its weave rough as a burlap sack. You'll glow by Vespers, he promises, but you're pretty sure he says that to everyone. You splash rose water still stale. Still floral on your face to perk up, but it just makes you smell like a dizzy flower. Outside it, the village hums with market chatter, the air carrying wood smoke and fresh bread. You pass Marjorie, who's haggling over a bundle of leeks. Bled yet, she calls, her own cheek suspiciously pink. You nod, joking. Yeah, I'm basically a saint now. Minus the halo. That's joke number 3. And she laughs, tossing you a sympathetic glance. Your head's clearing, but your arm aches like it's got a personal vendetta. You check your reflection in a puddle. Your face looks... okay, maybe a tad brighter. But it could be wishful thinking. The lead paste is still doing its job, and your high forehead's holding strong. Bloodletting's supposed to make you radiant, but you're mostly just tired. You weave through the market, dodging a cart of turnips and a kid chasing a goose. A peddler hawks vitality tonics, and you're tempted, but your coin pouch is lighter than your head. The church bells ring, signaling noon, and you head home, dreaming of your straw mattress. Back in your chamber, you collapse, the cut on your arm stinging under the linen. The bloodlettings left you woozy, but you're hoping for that promised glow by tomorrow. You're playing the medieval beauty game led, plucking belladonna, and now this because looking good means looking powerful, even if it feels like you're one lancet jab from a nap you won't wake up from. Next up, you'll tackle animal fat for your skin, but for now, you're just glad you survived Godric's blade. You're back in your drafty chamber, sprawled across your straw mattress, the faint ache in your arm reminding you of Godric's lancet from yesterday. Yep, that bloodletting session left you woozy, but maybe a smidge brighter. Your face still holds that lead paste glow. Your forehead's high as a noble's ego, and your teeth are hanging in there. But your skin, it's dry, flaky, like you've been rolling in a flour sack. The Middle Ages have a fix for that, and it's not some fancy cream, it's animal fat. The slimy star of your next beauty quest? You're about to slather on some serious grease, diving into a routine that's equal parts skincare and survival. You grab a small earthen jar, its contents a waxy, off-white blob that smells like a barn after a long winter. This is pig fat, rendered down to a spreadable goo, and it's your ticket to soft skin, or so Marjorie claims. You scoop a glob with your fingers. The texture's slick and heavy, like butter left out in a storm. You smear it across your cheeks, the fat cool and greasy, sinking into your skin with a faint squelch. It's not exactly a spa day. It feels more like you're prepping to wrestle a boar. If this doesn't work, I'm joining the pigs. You mutter, that's joke number 1, and it keeps you from gagging at the smell. This greasy ritual isn't just about hydration, it's a cultural staple. In 1315, when the Great Famine hits Europe, killing crops and starving villages, animal fat becomes a precious resource, used for everything from cooking to candles to, skincare. The rich hoard it, slathering it on to keep their skin supple while peasants make do with cracked hands and faces. You're not rolling in wealth, but you've got enough to dab some on, hoping it'll smooth out the damage from lead paste and belladonna. The fat leaves a sheen, catching the candlelight, making your face look like a polished apple shiny, but not exactly cute. You rub it in, your fingers sliding over your high forehead, the grease mingling with the faint rose water scent you're still clinging to. Here's an odd fact to make you squirm. Some folks mixed their fat with ground-up animal bones or ashes, thinking it added extra nourishment. Bones. You're not that committed, but you can imagine Marjorie stirring some into her jar, calling it ancestral glow. You chuckle joke number 2. Marjorie's out here moisturizing with pork and Grandpa's ashes. The thought makes you pause, your fingers hovering over the jar. Is this stuff pure pig? Or did someone get creative? You shake it off, spreading the fat down your neck, where it feels like you're sealing yourself in wax. Your skin drinks it up. But the smell lingers, a mix of lard and regret. You're aiming for that noblewoman's softness, like Lady Agnes, whose skin looks like it's never seen a rough day. Historians still debate whether animal fat was a beauty must-have or just a practical leftover from kitchen scraps. Some say it was a status symbol, showing you could spare food-grade fat. Others argue it was desperation, with no better options in a world short on oils. You're leaning towards status because this jar wasn't cheap, and you're not about to waste it. You keep rubbing, the grease warming under your fingers, leaving your skin slick but oddly soft. Outside, the village is waking, the air carrying the clatter of carts and the distant low of cattle. You catch your reflection in the bronze mirror. Your face glistens like you've been caught in a grease storm. But it's working. The flakes are gone and your skin feels smoother, even if you smell like a butcher's apprentice. You step out for air, the morning chill making the fat harden slightly. Like you're wearing a second skin. Marjorie's at the market, haggling over a sack of turnips, her own face suspiciously shiny. Pig fat, she calls, winking. You nod, joking, yeah, I'm basically bacon now. That's joke number 3. And she cackles, tossing you a sprig of lavender to improve your vibe. You tuck the lavender behind your ear, hoping it cuts the porky scent. The market's bustling, with peddlers hawking salves and oils. None as cheap as your fat jar. A kid stares at your glossy face, probably thinking you're part candle. You flash a grin, your blackened teeth barely passing muster, and keep moving. The church bells ring, signaling mid-morning prayers, and you weave through the crowd. Your skin soft, but your confidence wobbly. This animal fat routine is weird, but it's keeping your skin from cracking like old leather. Tomorrow, you'll face herbal potions and maybe a witchy rumor or two, but for now, you're greasy, glowing, and hoping nobody lights a match too close. You're back in your cramped chamber, the air heavy with the faint porky whiff of that pig fat you slathered on yesterday. Your skin's softer now, but you're still dodging sniffs from nosy villagers. Your lead-paste face is holding its ghostly charm, and your high forehead still turning heads. But today, you're stirring a murky brew in a clay pot, the steam curling like a warning. You're diving into herbal potions, the kind that promise flawless skin but come with a side of suspicion. In the Middle Ages, mixing plants for beauty can make you look radiant or land you in a witch's trial. This is your next gamble, and it's got a vibe that's equal parts apothecary and eerie. You've got a handful of dried herbs, chamomile, yarrow, and something Marjorie called witch's weed with a smirk. The pot simmers over a small fire, the herbs releasing a sharp, earthy scent that stings your nose. You stir with a wooden spoon, the mixture bubbling like it's got opinions. This potion's supposed to clear blemishes, maybe even outshine Lady Agnes's flawless glow. But every bubble feels like a risk, the wrong herb, the wrong whisper, and you're not just fighting pimples, you're dodging accusations of sorcery. If this backfires, I'm blaming Marjorie's weed. You mutter. That's joke number 1, and it keeps your nerves from fraying as the brew thickens. Herbal potions are big in 1397 when the deposition of Edward II shakes England, signaling a turbulent shift in power. Noble women use plant brews to stay radiant, but the church eyes anything too unnatural with suspicion. You're no noble, but you're stirring like one, hoping this mix will smooth your skin without summoning a priest. You strain the hot liquid through a scrap of linen, the cloth staining brown as the potion drips into a bowl. It smells like a forest after a storm, but there's a bitter edge that makes you hesitate. You dab a bit on your wrist first smart move, because it burns like a subtle curse. Your skin reddens, then calms, leaving a faint glow. Promising, but sketchy. Here's an odd fact to raise your eyebrows. Some potions included bat blood or toad spit, believed to bind the herb's power. Toad spit. You're sticking to plants, but you can't help picturing Marjorie sneaking some slimy secret into her own brew. You chuckle joke number 2. Marjorie's glowing because she's part toad now. The thought makes you stir faster, praying your mix is just herbs and hope. You dip a clean cloth into the cooled potion, patting it on your cheeks. It's tacky, like tree sap, but your skin tingles, maybe in a good way. The lead paste stays on, you're not messing with that, but this brew's supposed to work underneath. Like medieval micellar water. Applying the potion feels daring, like you're crossing a line. The village is full of whispers about women who mix unnatural remedies, and you've seen the glares from the local priest. Historians still debate whether these accusations stemmed from fear of women's knowledge or just convenient scapegoating during tough times. Some say herbalists were targeted to control independent women. Others argue it was genuine panic over dark arts. You're leaning toward control because your little pot of yarrow isn't exactly summoning demons, just maybe a better complexion. Still, you keep the shutters closed, the fire low, and you're stirring quiet. You glance outside, where dusk paints the village in soft purples. A dog barks, and you hear the clink of a blacksmith's hammer winding down. Back to the potion. You dab more on, your skin warming, the blemish on your chin already less angry. It's working, but every creak of the floorboards makes you jump, half expecting a mob with torches. Marjorie swings by, her own face dotted with some greenish paste. Brewing magic, she teases, sniffing the air. You roll your eyes. Magic's your department. Marge, I'm just anti-zit. That's joke number 3. And she laughs, tossing you a sprig of mint for luck. You tuck it in your sleeve, not because you believe her, but because you're not taking chances. The potion's drying now, leaving your skin tight but smooth. You check the mirror, your bronze buddy's as warped as ever, but your face looks clearer, even under the lead. You splash rosewater, still stale, still floral to seal the deal, the scent clashing with the potion's earthiness. The church bells toll, signaling vespers, and you step outside, the cool air soothing your tingling cheeks. Villagers glance your way, some nodding, others squinting like they sense your herbal hustle. You flash a grin, your blackened teeth barely passing, and keep moving. This potion game's risky, but it's keeping your skin in the fight. Tomorrow, You'll tackle freckles, another medieval enemy, but for now, you're glowing, sneaky, and hoping nobody calls the witch hunter. You're back in your shadowy chamber, the air thick with the herbal tang of that potion you brewed yesterday. Your skin's clearer now, but you're still keeping the shutters tight to dodge witchy rumors. Your lead-paste face is still ghostly, your forehead high, and that pig fat's got your cheeks soft. But as you catch your reflection in the warped bronze mirror, a new enemy glares back freckles. Tiny, stubborn specks dotting your nose like a traitor's map. In the Middle Ages, freckles are the ultimate glowdown, a sign you're too close to the sun, or worse, the fields. You're about to wage war with toxic paste, diving into a beauty battle that's as desperate as it is dangerous. You grab a small vial from the market, its contents a murky paste that smells like vinegar and regret. The peddler swore it's a freckle buster orpiment, a yellow arsenic sulfide mixed with some mystery goop. You dip a finger in, the paste gritty and cold, and dab it on a freckle near your cheek. It stings like a nettle's kiss, your skin prickling as the arsenic gets to work. You're aiming for that flawless, noble look, like Lady Agnes, whose face is smoother than a church fresco. But your heart's racing. This stuff's poison, and you know it. If I glow, great. If I croak, blame the freckles. You mutter. That's joke number 1, and it keeps you from tossing the vial out the window. Freckle hate isn't just vanity, it's a class thing. In 1349, as the Black Death's second wave ravages Europe, killing survivors and deepening social divides, a clear complexion screams, "I'm not a sun-scorched peasant." Freckles betray hard labor, so you're fighting them like they're a personal insult. You spread more paste. Careful not to smudge your lead layer, still your MVP. The arsenic burns, leaving red patches that you hope fade into perfection. The mirror shows progress 1 freckles lighter, but your skin's angry, like it's drafting a complaint. You splash rose water? Yep, still stale to cool the sting, but it just makes you smell like a floral fire hazard. Here's an odd fact to make you itch. Some women used leeches, yes, actual bloodsuckers, to draw out freckles, thinking they'd suck the spots away. Leeches. You're not that wild, but you can picture Marjorie slapping one on her nose, calling it science. You chuckle joke number 2. Marjorie's freckle fix brought to you by Swamp Spa. The thought distracts you as you dab more paste, your fingers trembling slightly. Is it nerves, or is the arsenic already clocking in? You're not sure, but your nose looks clearer, even if it feels like it's plotting revenge. Your skin's tingling now, a mix of burn and buzz that's got you second-guessing. This freckle fight feels like a pact with something shady, but you're committed. Historians still debate whether the hatred for freckles was purely aesthetic or tied to deeper fears, like associating skin marks with sin or witchcraft. Some say it was about mimicking saintly purity. Others argue it was class snobbery, shunning anything common. You're leaning towards snobbery, because these freckles aren't cursed, they're just stubborn. You keep dabbing, the paste drying into a crusty mask, your face a patchwork of lead, grease, and poison. Outside, the village hums with midday chatter, the air carrying wood smoke and the faint bleat of goats. You hear Marjorie's voice, haggling over onions, and wonder if she's tackled her own freckles yet. You step to the window, squinting against the light, your belladonna eyes still hate the sun. The paste's working, maybe, but your skin's redder than a tavern brawl. You sit back down, grabbing a scrap of linen to wipe the excess. Its weave rough as a grudge. The church bells toll, signaling sext, and you realize you've been at this for hours. Beauty's a marathon, and you're running on fumes. Marjorie pops by, her own face speckled but unbothered. Freckles fading, she asks, sniffing the air like she smells your arsenic stash. You shrug, fading or fighting back. Marge jury's out. That's joke number 3. And she grins, tossing you a chunk of soap that smells like ash. For when you're done poisoning yourself, she says. You laugh, but she's not wrong. You set the soap aside, checking the mirror again. The freckles are fainter, but your skin's screaming. You dab more rose water, hoping it'll calm the chaos, and wonder if Lady Agnes ever dealt with this nonsense. You step outside, the breeze cool against your stinging face. Villagers glance your way, some nodding, others whispering probably about your patchy glow. You flash a grin, your blackened teeth barely passing, and keep moving. This freckle fight's brutal, but you're in it for the clear skin cloud. Tomorrow, you'll tackle perfume's another stinky adventure, but for now, you're speckle-free-ish. Toxic, and hoping your skin forgives you before the next market day. You're slumped in your dim chamber, the air thick with the faint burn of that arsenic paste you used to nuke your freckles yesterday. Your skin's clearer now, but it's still mad at you. Your lead paste face glows like a moonlit ghost. Your high forehead's holding court, and that pig fat's keeping things soft. But there's a problem. You still smell like a mix of stale rose water and a Barnes bad day. Time to dive into perfumes. The Middle Ages answer to masking your natural charm. These scents aren't just about smelling nice, they're a status flex, and you're about to uncover their grim, musky origins. You grab a small glass vial. Its contents a dark, oily liquid that smells like a forest got lost in a butcher shop. This is civet, a perfume made from brace yourself the anal glands of a cat-like critter. You uncork it, and the stench hits like a punch, musky, sharp, with a hint of something you'd rather not name. You dab a drop on your wrist, the oil slick and warm, clinging like a bad decision. It's supposed to make you smell rich. But right now, you're just praying nobody gets too close. If this is luxury, I'm moving to a cave. You mutter, that's joke number 1, and it keeps you from gagging. Perfume's a big deal in 1361 when the Treaty of Bretigny pauses the 100 Years' War, giving nobles a chance to flex their wealth with exotic scents. Civet, ambergris, and musk are the Gucci of smells, imported from far-off lands to prove you're not slumming it with the peasants. You're not that rich, but you've got this vial, and you're hoping it'll make you smell like Lady Agnes, whose scent wafts like she's bathed in gold. You rub the oil into your neck, the musk cutting through the pig fat's porky undertone. It's an improvement, maybe, but your nose is staging a protest, and the room feels like it's judging you. Here's an odd fact to make you wrinkle your nose. Some perfumes included actual dung cow or horse mixed in to ground the scent. Dung. You're sticking to civet, but you can picture Marjorie splashing on some barnyard blend, calling it earthy chic. You chuckle, joke number 2. Marjorie's new perfume, Eau de Stable Floor. The thought makes you dab lighter, hoping your vial's just animal glands and not extras. You check the mirror, your bronze buddy showing a face that's pale but shiny. the perfume adding a musky aura that's either alluring or alarming. Your skin tingles where the oil sits, and you're not sure if it's working or just overwhelming. Perfumes are tricky too much, and you're a walking cloud of stench. Too little, and you're back to smelling like yesterday's sweat. Historians still debate whether these heavy scents were about seduction or just masking the era's lack of baths. Some say they signaled wealth and allure. Others argue they were a desperate cover for hygiene woes. You're leaning toward cover-up because no one's seducing anyone with civet alone. You add another drop. The musk now so thick you can almost taste it, like a spicy fog in your throat. Outside, the village is bustling, the air carrying wood smoke and the faint bleat of goats. You hear Marjorie's voice, haggling over a sack of barley, and wonder if she's doused in her own funky brew. You step to the window, the evening chill cooling your greasy skin, the perfume settling, blending with the rosewater still stale, still floral into something almost tolerable. You catch a villager's glance. He wrinkles his nose, then nods, like he's torn between respect and retreat. You flash a grin, your blackened teeth barely passing, and joke. What? You don't like my new scent? It's called despair. That's joke number 3, and it lands with a smirk. Marjorie swings by, her own scent a mix of lavender and something suspiciously barnyard. Smelling noble, yet she asks, sniffing the air. You shrug. Noble or notorious? Marge, take your pick. She laughs, tossing you a sprig of rosemary to balance it. You tuck it in your sleeve, not because you trust her, but because you're running out of options. The church bells toll, signaling a compline, and you head back inside, the musk trailing you like a clingy shadow. You check the mirror again, your face is still pale, your eyes wide from those belladonna days, and now you smell like a medieval perfume had gone wrong. You collapse onto your mattress, the straw crunching under you. The civet's doing its job. Sort of you don't smell like sweat anymore, but you're not sure this is better. Perfume's your armor in a world where everyone's a little ripe. But it's a weird flex. Tomorrow, you'll chase Queen Eleanor's royal look. But for now, you're musky, pale, and hoping nobody lights a torch too close to your flammable vibe. You're perched on a wobbly stool in your drafty chamber. The air is still heavy with that civet musk you dabbed on yesterday. Yep, you're smelling like a noble's bad decision, but at least it's masking the barn vibes. Your lead-paste face is holding its ghostly glow. Your freckles are fading, and that pig fat's got your skin softer than a merchant's lie. But today, you're leveling up. You're chasing the ultimate beauty icon, Queen Eleanor of Aquitaine, the medieval rock star whose look sets the bar for every noble woman with a mirror. You're about to emulate her royal style, from her golden locks to her regal poise, and figure out why royalty's calling the shots on your beauty game. You've got a small bundle of saffron threads, bartered from a trader who probably overcharged you. Saffron's your key to Eleanor's legendary golden hair, the kind that shimmers like a crown even in torchlight. You crush the threads into a bowl of water, the scent sharp and spicy, like a marketplace stall on steroids. The mixture turns a faint yellow, and you pour it over your hair, the liquid cool and sticky, dripping down your neck like a royal oops. You're aiming for that sun-kissed glow, but right now, You look like you've been dunked in weak ale. If this doesn't work, I'm auditioning for court jester. You mutter. That's joke number 1, and it keeps you from rethinking your life choices. Eleanor's influence isn't just about hair, it's about power. In 1152, when Eleanor marries Henry II, uniting Aquitaine with England and sparking a dynasty, her style becomes the gold standard. Her flowing locks, high forehead, and elegant gown scream I rule, and every noblewoman's scrambling to copy her. You're not a queen, but you're faking it. Combing the saffron rinse through your hair with a bone comb that snags like it's got a grudge. The strands glisten. Sort of. But the smell's overwhelming. Like you've bathed in a spice rack. You check your bronze mirror, still warped. Still judgy, and see a hint of gold. It's not Eleanor level, but it's a start. Here's an odd fact to make you blink. Some women used horse urine. Yes, that stuff to lighten their hair, believing it gave a natural blonde sheen. Horse urine. You're sticking to saffron? But you can picture Marjorie trying the stable special, claiming it's court-approved. You chuckled joke number 2. Marjorie's hair glows thanks to her four-legged stylist. The thought makes you comb gentler, praying your saffron's pure and not some trader's scam. You wrap your hair in a linen cloth, the dye soaking in, and hope for that royal shine by morning. Your hair's only half the game. Eleanor's look demands poise, so you practice her gliding walk, head high, shoulders back, like you're strolling through a palace, not a room with a dirt floor. Your wool gown drags, catching on a splinter, and you nearly trip. Great. You adjust, mimicking her serene smile, but your blackened teeth, still a work in progress, make you look more mischievous than majestic. Historians still debate whether Eleanor's beauty was natural or a carefully crafted image to cement her power. Some say her looks were exaggerated by poets. Others argue she curated her style to command respect. You're leaning toward curation because this hair-dyeing, posture-perfecting hustle is work, and you're barely keeping up. You sit, the saffron dripping onto your shoulders, staining your gown like a clumsy artist's signature. You dab rose water, still stale, still floral to mask the spice, but it just makes you smell like a confused banquet. Outside, the village is settling, the air carrying the clink of a blacksmith's hammer and the faint bleat of goats. Marjorie's voice drifts through, haggling over apples, and you wonder if she's chasing Eleanor's look too. You step to the window, your hair wrapped like a soggy crown, and catch a villager's stare. You flash a grin, joking. What? You don't recognize Queen Me? That's joke number 3, and it lands with a smirk as he hurries off. Marjorie swings by, her own hair suspiciously brassy. Going for Eleanor's gold, she asks, sniffing the saffron haze. You nod. Gold or goblin? Marge will see. She laughs, tossing you a ribbon for courtly flair. You tie it around your wrist, not because you're sold, but because you're too tired to argue. The church bells toll, signaling vespers, and you head back inside. The saffron now a sticky mess. You check the mirror again, your face is pale, your eyes wide from those belladonna days, and your hair's optimistic. You're not Eleanor yet, but you're closer, chasing that royal vibe in a world where queens set the rules. You collapse onto your mattress, the straw crunching like it's mocking you. The saffron's doing its job. Maybe. but your scalp itches, and you're half convinced you'll wake up orange. Emulating Eleanor's not just about looks, it's about owning the room, even if your room's a hovel. Tomorrow, you'll spy on the men's beauty game, but for now, you're goldenish, poised, and hoping your hair doesn't betray you before the next market day. You're leaning against the rough wall of your chamber, the air still spicy from that saffron rinse you poured over your hair yesterday. Yep, it's got a faint golden glow now, but you're still no Queen Eleanor. Your lead paste face is holding its ghostly shine. Your freckles are fading, and that civet musk lingers like a clingy guest. But today, you're shifting focus. You've been chasing noble women's looks, but the men in the village, they're playing the beauty game too, and it's wilder than you thought. You're about to spy on their rituals, from cheek rouges to toxic hair dyes, and see how medieval guys keep up in a world where looks are power. You're at the market, blending into the crowd as you watch Godric, the barber surgeon, hawk his wares to a group of men. He's got a pot of red ochre paste, basically dirt mixed with grease that's supposed to give cheeks a healthy flush. A young merchant, Thomas, slathers it on, his face turning a patchy pink, like he's been slapped by a turnip. You stifle a laugh, muttering. Thomas looks ready to woo a pig or scare one off. That's joke number 1, and it keeps you from snorting out loud. The ochre smells earthy, sharp, clinging to the air like damp clay. And Thomas checks his reflection in a polished tin, clearly thinking he's the village heartthrob. Men's beauty isn't just a side hustle, it's a status flex. In 1381, when the Peasants' Revolt shakes England, demanding fairer lives, looking polished helps men stand out in a chaotic world. Nobles sport flushed cheeks and dyed hair to scream, "I'm not a serf, Thomas isn't noble." But he's trying, rubbing more ochre with a confidence you almost admire. You notice another guy, a tanner named Ralph, dipping his fingers into a vial of black liquid walnut hull dye meant to darken his graying hair. The stuff smells like rotting leaves, and when he slaps it on, his scalp turns splotchy, like a bad map. You wince, remembering your own saffron mess, and wonder if Ralph's scalp's as mad as your skin was after that arsenic paste. Here's an odd fact to make you grimace. Some men used lead-based dyes. Yep. Your old friend lead to color their hair, risking baldness or worse, lead again. You're not surprised, but you can picture Marjorie's husband trying it, thinking he's slick while his hair falls out. You chuckle joke number 2, Marjorie's man's gonna be the shiniest bald knight in town. The thought makes you lean closer, watching Ralph comb the dye through, his fingers stained black. The dye drips, narrowly missing his tunic, and he curses under his breath, earning a laugh from Godric. Men's beauty's a gamble, and these guys are all in. You shift, your saffron-scented hair catching a breeze that carries wood smoke and baking bread. Thomas is now trying a lip balm beef tallow mixed with berries that smells like a pie gone wrong. His lips turn a garish red, and he puckers at his reflection, clearly aiming for courtly charm. You're impressed, sort of. But it's hard to take seriously when he looks like he ate a handful of cherries and missed his mouth. Historians still debate whether men's grooming was about vanity or social climbing. Some say it was pure ego, mimicking noble trends. Others argue it was survival, signaling wealth to secure better deals or brides. You're leaning toward climbing, Because Thomas's rouge screams hire me. I'm fancy. Not, I'm just pretty. Your own beauty routine led belladonna. Civet feels tame compared to this. You catch Marjorie across the market, haggling over a sack of flour, her brassy hair glinting. She spots you and waves, probably guessing you're spying. You flash a grin, your blackened teeth barely passing, and joke. If I join the men's club, I'm skipping the lip balm. That's joke number 3, and she cackles, tossing you a knowing look. You turn back to Ralph, who's now rinsing his hands in a bucket. The water turning inky? The dye's set and his hair is darker, but his scalp's red, like it's staging a protest. Godric slaps his back, promising youthful vigor. But Ralph's grimace says he's not sold. The church bells ring, signaling noon, and the market buzzes louder. Carts creak, kids chase a stray dog, and a peddler hawks vitality tonics. You step closer, your wool gown brushing a stall, and catch Thomas admiring his rouge in the tin again. He's glowing, or at least trying to, but the ochre's cracking, like your lead paste on a bad day. You wonder if men feel the same pressure you do lead. Plucking? Potions to look powerful. Probably you head home, the air cool against your face, still soft from pig fat. The men's game is wild, but you're sticking to your own, dodging ochre and lead dyes for now. Back in your chamber, you collapse onto your mattress, the straw crunching like it's got opinions. You check your mirror, pale face, wide eyes, golden hair, and feel a twinge of pride. The men's rituals are bold, but you're holding your own. Tomorrow, you'll face the church's wrath over your vanity, but for now, you're pale, musky, and glad you're not sporting Thomas's pie lip look. You're slouched in your chilly chamber, the air tinged with the faint musk of that civet perfume you're still not sure about. Your saffron-tinted hair's got that golden glow, and your lead-paste face is as ghostly as ever. You've been dodging freckles, plucking foreheads, and even spying on the men's rouge game. But today, the vibe's heavier. You're facing a new hurdle, the church, looming like a judgmental parent, ready to slap your wrist for all this vanity. Sermons are calling out your beauty hustle, and you're navigating a world where looking good might land you in hot water, spiritually speaking. You're in the village square, the cobblestones cold under your feet, as Father Baldwin's voice booms from the church steps. He's railing against vain adornments, his beard quivering like it's personally offended by your lead paste. The crowd murmurs, some nodding, others sneaking glances at your high forehead and shiny skin. You feel exposed, like your whole routine pig fat. Belladonna. Saffron is on trial. You mutter, "Guess my face is a sin now." That's joke number 1, and it keeps you from shrinking under Baldwin's glare. You clutch your wool gown, it's hem-frayed, and try to look pious while smelling like a musky spice rack. This anti-vanity crusade isn't just talk, it's got teeth. In 1377, when John Wycliffe's reformist ideas spark debates, challenging the church's grip on England, clerics double down on moral policing, including beauty. They say vanity's a devil's trap, luring souls from God with mirrors and dyes. Your lead paste and civet oil practically heretical. You're not trying to defy the Almighty, but you're also not ready to ditch your glow for a nun's wimple. You slip into the church, the air heavy with incense and wax, and kneel, hoping to blend in. The pew's rough, digging into your knees, and Baldwin's sermon drones on about painted faces leading to ruin. You're pretty sure he's staring at you. Here's an odd fact to make you smirk. Some priest claimed red lips like Thomas's berry balm from yesterday mimicked the devil's hue, tempting sin. Red lips. Satanic. You can picture Marjorie smearing on her own balm, daring the demons to dance. You chuckle joke number 2. Marjorie's lips are basically a portal to perdition. The thought distracts you as you bow your head, pretending to pray while side-eyeing the crowd. Half the women here are sporting high foreheads or suspicious glows, so you're not alone in this beauty rebellion. Your routine's under fire, but you're not backing down. You dab a bit of rose water, still stale. Still floral behind your ears, hoping it screams penitent instead of perfumed. The church wants plain faces, but the nobles, like Lady Agnes, keep flaunting their looks, and you're caught in the middle. Historians still debate whether these sermons were about spiritual purity or controlling women's autonomy. Some say clerics feared beauty gave women power. Others argue it was just moral posturing in a chaotic world. You're leaning toward power, because Baldwin's glare feels more personal than pious. You adjust your veil, hiding your golden hair, but your lead-painted face is harder to mask. The sermon ends, and you shuffle out, the crowd dispersing like scolded kids. Outside, the air's crisp, carrying wood smoke and the distant clang of a blacksmith. Marjorie's waiting by a cart, her own face pale but her lips suspiciously rosy. "Survive the sermon?" she asks, grinning. You nod. Barely. "Next time." "I'm confessing my tweezers, that's joke number 3. And she cackles, tossing you a sprig of thyme for protection. You tuck it in your sleeve. Not because you believe her, but because you're hedging your bets. The market's buzzing. Peddlers hawking salves while dodging Baldwin's side-eye. You spot Thomas, his ochre cheek still patchy, looking unbothered by the church's wrath. You head home. The cobblestones slick underfoot, your mind spinning. The church's rules are tight, but beauty's your armor lead, saffron, musk, all of it. You check your bronze mirror warped as ever and see your face, pale and defiant. You're not Lady Agnes, but you're not a penitent either. The bells toll for vespers, and you light a candle. Its flicker casting shadows that make your high forehead look almost holy. You're navigating this tightrope between vanity and virtue, hoping you don't fall. Tomorrow, you'll chase eternal youth with alchemist tricks. But for now, you're pale, musky, and dodging sermons like a pro. You're curled up on your straw mattress. The chamber's chill nipping at your toes as the last of your candle sputters. Your lead-paste face still glows faintly. Your saffron hair catches the dim light. And that civet musk, yup, still lingering makes you smell like a noble with questionable taste. You've dodged Father Baldwin's sermons, outshone Marjorie's freckles, and even survived Godric's lancet. But now you're chasing the ultimate prize, eternal youth. The Middle Ages are obsessed with defying time, and you're about to try alchemical elixirs, potions that promise immortality but feel like a final, desperate roll. This is where beauty meets its cost, and you're reflecting on the toll as the era's glow fades. You hold a murky vial. Its contents a syrupy brew from an alchemist who whispered of aqua vitae, the water of life. It smells like metal and mold, with a hint of something sharp, like crushed nettles. You swirl it, the liquid glinting in the candlelight, and hesitate. This elixir's got quicksilver mercury and gold flakes. Meant to freeze your youth like a saint's relic? You sip a drop, the taste bitter and biting, coating your tongue like regret. Your stomach twists, but you're chasing that ageless glow, the kind Lady Agnes seems to pull off effortlessly. If I don't wake up younger, I'm haunting the alchemist, you mutter. That's joke number 1, and it keeps your nerves steady. This youth quest isn't new, it's peak medieval madness. In 1403, when Henry IV quells the Percy Rebellion, alchemists are buzzing, promising kings and nobles potions to outlive their enemies. Gold and mercury are the stars, believed to hold divine essence. But you're no king, just a villager gambling on a glow-up. You dab more elixir on your cheeks, hoping it sinks in, but it stings, leaving a faint red flush. The mirror still warped. Still judgy shows your face, pale but tired, like the lead's finally winning. You splash rosewater stale as ever to calm the burn, but it just makes you smell like a floral pharmacy gone wrong. Here's an odd fact to make you shudder. Some alchemist added human bones ground to dust to elixirs, thinking they held vital spirit. Bones. You're praying your vial's just mercury, but you can picture Marjorie sipping a bony brew, calling it eternal chic. You chuckle joke number 2. Marjorie's staying young thanks to someone's old shin bone. The thought makes you set the vial down. Your hand's shaky. Mercury's bad enough your head's buzzing. A faint hum like you've had too much mead. You're not sure if it's youth or poison kicking in, but you're committed. Dabbing more on your neck, your skin's tingling, and your heart's racing, like you've run from a wolf. These elixirs are the endgame of your beauty hustle lead. Belladonna, saffron, all building to this. Historians still debate whether alchemists believed in immortality or just sold hope to desperate nobles. Some say they were early scientists. Others argue they were con artists, peddling poison for profit. You're leaning toward cons because this elixir's making you woozy, not younger. You sit, gripping the table, the room swaying like a bad dream. Outside, the village sleeps, the air carrying only the soft creak of a distant cart. The bells are silent, and the night feels heavy, like it knows your gamble. Marjorie's voice echoes in your head, her teasing about your witchy potions. You wonder if she's tried this youth trick too. You step outside, the moonlight cool on your stinging skin. A villager passes, his face shadowed, and you flash a grin, your blackened teeth still there. No miracle yet. What? You don't see my new youth, you joke. That's 3. But he just nods, hurrying off. You lean against your door, the elixir's buzz fading into a dull ache. Your beauty quest plucking, bleeding, dying has been a wild ride, but this feels like the end. A final stab at a dream that's cost you more than coins. You shuffle back inside, the candle now a stub, its light soft and forgiving. Your reflection blurs in the mirror, your face pale, your hair golden, but your eyes heavy with the weight of it all. The Middle Ages fade around you, their beauty rituals a mix of hope and havoc. You lie down, the straw mattress cradling you like an old friend. The elixir's sting lingers, but sleep calls, gentle and slow. Your breath evens. The villages hum a distant lullaby. In this quiet Canadian night, you drift, the glow of your journey softening into dreams. A whisper of youth carried on the breeze. The world around you grows hazy, like a painting left in the rain. Your chamber, with its flickering candle and musky air, blurs into something softer, quieter. You're safe now, wrapped in the gentle hum of a Canadian evening, where the stars wink over sleepy towns and the air carries a hint of pine. No more lead paste, no more stinging elixirs, just you, sinking into rest, your heart slow and steady. The Middle Ages' wild beauty chase feels far away, a story told in whispers, fading like a dream you'll half remember. Let the night hold you, as you drift deeper, the world tucking you in with a sigh,